Sarah Martinez had dreamed of becoming a military sniper since she was 12 years old. Growing up on a ranch in Texas, she spent countless hours with her grandfather's hunting rifle, learning to hit targets at distances that amazed even experienced hunters. Her grandfather, a Vietnam War veteran, recognized her natural talent and encouraged her precision shooting skills. When Sarah turned 18, she enlisted in the Army with one clear goal in mind. She wanted to join the elite sniper program that only accepted the best marksmen in the military. For 2 years, she excelled in basic training and advanced marksmanship courses. Her instructors noted her exceptional hand-eye coordination and her ability to remain calm under pressure. The opportunity finally came when the Army announced openings for sniper school. Sarah submitted her application immediately, along with her outstanding shooting records and recommendations from 3 different commanding officers. She had scored perfect marks in every shooting test and had even broken several range records at her base. The selection process was brutal. Out of 200 applicants, only 30 would be chosen for the intensive 12-week program. Sarah passed the physical fitness tests with flying colors, scoring in the top 5%. Her marksmanship evaluation was flawless, hitting targets at 800 yards with consistency that impressed the evaluators. When the acceptance letters were distributed, Sarah's hands trembled as she opened the envelope. The word "accepted" jumped off the page, and she felt tears of joy streaming down her face. She immediately called her grandfather, who had taught her everything about shooting. His proud voice on the other end of the line made all her years of preparation feel worthwhile. The first week of sniper school was everything Sarah had imagined, and more. The facility was located in a remote desert area where trainees could practice long-distance shooting without civilian interference. The instructors were legendary figures in the military, men who had served in multiple combat zones and had confirmed kills that made them living legends. Sarah quickly established herself as one of the top performers in her class. While other trainees struggled with the complex calculations needed for long-distance shots, she seemed to have an intuitive understanding of wind patterns, elevation adjustments, and bullet drop. Her shooting scores were consistently the highest in the class, often by significant margins. The other trainees, all male, initially viewed her with skepticism. They had never trained alongside a female sniper candidate and weren't sure if she could handle the mental and physical demands of the program. However, Sarah's performance spoke louder than any doubts they might have harbored. She outshot most of them regularly and showed remarkable composure during high-stress exercises. During the 3rd week, the class faced their first major challenge. Each trainee had to make a successful shot at a target positioned 1,000 yards away while under simulated combat conditions. Instructors used smoke machines, loud noises, and time pressure to create a realistic battlefield environment. Many experienced trainees missed their targets completely or required multiple attempts. When Sarah's turn came, she took her position behind the rifle with the same calm demeanor she had displayed since day one. She studied the wind flags, calculated the necessary adjustments, and controlled her breathing exactly as her grandfather had taught her years ago. The shot rang out across the desert, and the target monitor immediately confirmed a perfect bullseye hit. The lead instructor, Sergeant Major Rodriguez, walked over to Sarah's position with an expression of grudging respect. He had been training snipers for 15 years and had rarely seen such natural ability combined with technical precision. He made a note in her file that would later prove to be very important in the events that followed. As the weeks progressed, Sarah continued to excel in every aspect of the training. She mastered the art of camouflage, learned to remain motionless for hours while maintaining visual surveillance, and demonstrated exceptional skills in range estimation and target identification. Her academic performance in ballistics and meteorology was equally impressive. The other trainees began to accept her as an equal, and several even sought her advice on improving their own shooting techniques. Sarah was always willing to help, sharing the knowledge her grandfather had passed down to her, and the insights she had developed through years of practice. However, not everyone was pleased with Sarah's outstanding performance. There were whispers among some of the older instructors who had never worked with female trainees before. They questioned whether a woman could handle the psychological stress of actual combat, regardless of her shooting ability. These concerns were not based on any evidence from Sarah's performance, but rather on outdated assumptions about women in combat roles. During the 8th week of training, something unusual happened that would change everything. The trainees were conducting a live-fire exercise when Sarah noticed something that the instructors had missed. Through her scope, she spotted what appeared to be an unauthorized person moving through a restricted area of the range. This person was dangerously close to becoming a casualty if the exercise continued. Sarah immediately broke protocol by lowering her rifle and alerting the range safety officer. The exercise was halted, and security personnel were dispatched to investigate. It turned out that a civilian contractor had become lost and had wandered into the active firing range. Sarah's quick thinking and vigilance had potentially saved someone's life. Instead of being commended for her awareness and quick decision-making, Sarah found herself facing criticism from one of the senior instructors. He argued that she had failed to follow orders and had disrupted an important training exercise. Other instructors disagreed, pointing out that her actions demonstrated exactly the kind of judgment they wanted in a sniper. The incident created a division among the instructional staff. Some viewed Sarah as an exceptional candidate who had shown remarkable situational awareness, while others saw her as someone who couldn't follow orders under pressure. This disagreement would soon escalate into something much more serious. Sarah was unaware of the debates taking place among her instructors. She continued to focus on her training, maintaining her position as the top performer in the class. She was particularly excited about the upcoming final evaluation, which would determine who graduated from the program and received the coveted sniper designation. The night before the final evaluation, Sarah spent hours cleaning and adjusting her rifle. She reviewed her notes on wind reading and ballistic calculations one more time. Her grandfather had always told her that preparation was the key to success, and she wanted to be ready for whatever challenge the instructors presented. The final evaluation consisted of multiple shooting scenarios designed to test everything the trainees had learned. Sarah approached each challenge with the confidence born from weeks of superior performance. She successfully engaged targets at varying distances, demonstrated her ability to make quick calculations under pressure, and showed perfect form in all aspects of sniper craft. When the scores were tallied, Sarah had achieved the highest marks in the class by a considerable margin. She had not only met every requirement for graduation, but had exceeded expectations in ways that impressed even the most experienced instructors. Her overall score was the highest recorded in the program's recent history. That evening, Sarah called her grandfather to share the good news about her performance. She was confident that she would graduate with honors and, finally, achieve her dream of becoming a military sniper. Her grandfather's pride was evident in his voice as he congratulated her on her outstanding achievement. The morning of graduation day arrived with clear skies and perfect shooting conditions. Sarah woke up early, filled with excitement and anticipation. She had worked harder than anyone else in her class and had consistently outperformed every other trainee. Today would be the day she officially became a qualified military sniper. The graduation ceremony was scheduled for 10 in the morning, followed by individual meetings where each trainee would receive their new assignment. Sarah had already heard rumors that the top graduates might be selected for special operations units, which represented the pinnacle of sniper careers in the military. At 8:30, just as Sarah was preparing to join her classmates for the pre-ceremony formation, she received an unexpected message. A military police officer appeared at her barracks door with orders for her to report immediately to the commander's office. This was unusual, as graduation day protocols typically didn't include individual meetings until after the ceremony. Sarah quickly dressed in her best uniform and made her way to the administrative building. She assumed this early meeting was probably related to her outstanding performance and possible assignment to a prestigious unit. Her confidence was high as she knocked on the commander's door and was instructed to enter. Colonel Thompson, the commanding officer of the sniper school, sat behind his desk with an expression that immediately told Sarah something was wrong. His usual stern but fair demeanor had been replaced by something much more serious and uncomfortable. Two other officers were present in the room, neither of whom Sarah recognized. The colonel gestured for Sarah to sit down and then delivered news that completely shattered her expectations. He informed her that despite her exceptional performance throughout the program, she would not be graduating with her class. Furthermore, she was being immediately transferred out of the sniper program and reassigned to a regular infantry unit. Sarah felt as if the floor had dropped out from under her. She asked for an explanation, struggling to understand how this could be happening when she had clearly outperformed everyone else in the class. The colonel's response was vague and unsatisfying. He mentioned concerns about her ability to function effectively in a combat environment and questions about her judgment under pressure. When Sarah pressed for specific details about these alleged concerns, the colonel referenced the incident during the live-fire exercise when she had broken protocol to alert range safety about the civilian contractor. He characterized her actions as a failure to follow orders, despite the fact that her quick thinking had potentially saved someone's life. Sarah pointed out that her shooting scores, academic performance, and overall evaluation marks were the highest in the class. She had demonstrated exceptional skills in every aspect of sniper training and had received praise from multiple instructors throughout the program. The colonel acknowledged her technical abilities, but maintained that other factors made her unsuitable for the sniper role. The meeting lasted less than 15 minutes. Sarah was given orders to pack her belongings and report to her new unit by the end of the week. She was also informed that any discussion of her dismissal from the program was classified information that could not be shared with anyone outside official military channels. Walking back to her barracks in a daze, Sarah passed her former classmates who were gathering for the graduation ceremony. Several of them noticed her distressed state and asked what was wrong, but she could only tell them that she wouldn't be graduating with them. The looks of confusion and sympathy on their faces made the situation even more painful. Sarah spent the next few hours packing her belongings while trying to process what had happened. She replayed every moment of her training, searching for any legitimate reason why she might have been dismissed. No matter how she analyzed the situation, she couldn't identify any performance issues or behavioral problems that would justify such drastic action. The hardest part was calling her grandfather to explain the situation. His initial excitement about her graduation quickly turned to anger and confusion when she described what had transpired. He had served in the military for over 20 years and had never heard of a top-performing trainee being dismissed without clear cause. Her grandfather suggested that there might be more to the story than what Sarah had been told. He encouraged her to document everything that had happened and to be prepared for the possibility that the real reasons for her dismissal might eventually come to light. His military experience had taught him that sometimes the official explanation for controversial decisions didn't tell the whole story. Over the following days, Sarah began to hear rumors from other soldiers who had connections to the sniper school. These informal sources suggested that her dismissal had been the subject of heated debates among the instructional staff and that not everyone had agreed with the decision. Some instructors had reportedly argued strongly in favor of her graduation. One particularly disturbing piece of information came from a friend who worked in the administrative offices. This person mentioned that there had been unusual pressure from higher-ranking officers who had never been directly involved with the sniper program. These external influences had apparently played a role in the final decision about Sarah's future. Sarah's new assignment was to a regular infantry unit stationed at a different base several hundred miles away. The transition was difficult, not just because of the geographical change, but because she had to abandon the specialized training she had worked so hard to complete. Her new commanding officers were aware of her sniper school background, but had been told only that she had been reassigned for administrative reasons. In her new unit, Sarah's exceptional marksmanship skills quickly became apparent. During routine shooting qualifications, she consistently scored perfect marks and often helped other soldiers improve their accuracy. Her abilities were so remarkable that her new commanders began asking questions about why someone with such obvious talent had been transferred out of the sniper program. Sarah was careful about how much information she shared, mindful of the instructions she had received about not discussing her dismissal. However, she couldn't hide her superior shooting skills, and it became increasingly obvious to everyone around her that she possessed abilities far beyond those of a typical infantry soldier. Several months into her new assignment, Sarah received an unexpected visitor. Sergeant Major Rodriguez, who had been one of her instructors at sniper school, appeared at her new base during his leave time. He had made the trip specifically to speak with her about what had happened during her final weeks of training. The Sergeant Major revealed information that began to shed light on the real reasons behind Sarah's dismissal. He explained that her outstanding performance had created a political problem within certain circles of the military hierarchy. Some senior officers had been uncomfortable with the prospect of a female sniper achieving such visible success in what they considered a male-dominated field. Rodriguez told Sarah that the decision to dismiss her had not been based on her performance or abilities. Instead, it had been influenced by pressure from officers who were concerned about the precedent her success might set for other women seeking combat roles. These officials had used the range safety incident as a pretext to justify a decision that was really based on gender bias. The Sergeant Major also revealed that several instructors had filed formal objections to Sarah's dismissal. These documents had been submitted to higher authorities, arguing that removing the top-performing trainee from the program was both unjust and harmful to military effectiveness. However, these protests had been overruled by senior command. Perhaps most importantly, Rodriguez informed Sarah that her case had attracted the attention of military investigators and civil rights organizations. There were people working behind the scenes to document what had happened and to ensure that the truth eventually came to light. He encouraged her to maintain detailed records of her experiences and to be patient while these investigations proceeded. This conversation with Sergeant Major Rodriguez was both enlightening and frustrating for Sarah. On one hand, she finally understood that her dismissal had not been her fault and that others recognized the injustice of what had occurred. On the other hand, she realized that she had been the victim of systematic discrimination that went far beyond individual prejudice. Sarah returned to her duties with a new understanding of her situation, but also with a growing determination to ensure that her story would eventually be told. She began keeping detailed notes about her experiences and gathering evidence that might be useful if formal proceedings ever took place. She also started reaching out to other female soldiers who might have faced similar challenges in their military careers. 2 years after her dismissal from sniper school, Sarah had settled into her role with the infantry unit, though she never stopped feeling that her talents were being wasted. She had earned the respect of her fellow soldiers and had been promoted twice based on her exceptional performance. However, she continued to wonder if the truth about her sniper school experience would ever be fully revealed. The answer came in an unexpected form. A military journalist named Captain Jennifer Hayes had been investigating cases of gender discrimination in specialized training programs. Captain Hayes had heard rumors about Sarah's case and had spent months gathering information from various sources within the military hierarchy. Captain Hayes contacted Sarah through official channels, explaining that she was working on a comprehensive report about barriers facing women in combat training programs. She had already interviewed several other female soldiers who had faced similar challenges, and Sarah's case appeared to be one of the most well-documented examples of systematic bias. During their initial meeting, Captain Hayes revealed the extent of the investigation that had been quietly proceeding for over a year. Military investigators had uncovered a pattern of discrimination that went far beyond Sarah's individual case. Several senior officers had been systematically working to limit opportunities for women in elite combat roles, using various pretexts to justify decisions that were actually based on gender bias. The investigation had uncovered internal communications between these officers that clearly showed their intent to prevent women from succeeding in sniper training, special operations selection, and other prestigious military programs. The investigation had also revealed that Sergeant Major Rodriguez and several other instructors had faced professional retaliation for supporting Sarah and objecting to her dismissal. These dedicated professionals have been transferred to less desirable assignments and had received negative performance evaluations that were inconsistent with their previous excellent records. Sarah learned that her case had become a catalyst for broader changes in military policy regarding women in combat roles. Civil rights organizations had taken an interest in her story, and several members of Congress had begun asking questions about discrimination in military training programs. The mounting pressure was forcing senior military leaders to address systemic problems they had previously ignored. Captain Hayes explained that the military was preparing to take formal action regarding Sarah's case and the broader pattern of discrimination that had been uncovered. Several high-ranking officers were facing disciplinary proceedings, and there were plans to review the cases of other women who might have faced similar treatment. The most significant development was that the military had decided to offer Sarah the opportunity to return to sniper school and complete her training. This offer came with a formal apology for the discrimination she had faced and acknowledgement that her dismissal had been unjust. The military was also prepared to provide her with back pay and to remove any negative references to the incident from her personnel file. Sarah was initially overwhelmed by this news. After 2 years of wondering if justice would ever be served, she was being offered the chance to fulfill her original dream. However, she also had concerns about returning to an environment where she might face continued hostility from some quarters. Captain Hayes assured her that significant changes had been implemented at the sniper school. New policies were in place to prevent discrimination, and several of the officers who had been involved in her dismissal were no longer in positions of authority. The current leadership was committed to ensuring that all trainees were evaluated solely on their performance and abilities. After extensive discussions with her family and mentors, Sarah decided to accept the offer to return to sniper school. Her grandfather, now in his 70s but still sharp and engaged, encouraged her to seize this opportunity to complete what she had started. He reminded her that her success would help open doors for other women facing similar challenges. The return to sniper school was both familiar and different. Many of the physical facilities were the same, but the atmosphere had changed significantly. The new leadership team included officers who were committed to fair treatment for all trainees, regardless of gender. There were also new protocols in place to ensure that evaluations were conducted objectively and that any concerns about bias were immediately addressed. Sarah found herself in a unique position as a trainee who already possessed most of the skills taught in the program. Her 2 years of additional military experience had actually enhanced her abilities, and she quickly demonstrated that her marksmanship skills remained at an exceptional level. The new instructors were impressed by her professionalism and her ability to help other trainees improve their performance. The other trainees, both male and female, treated Sarah with respect from the beginning. Word had spread throughout the military about her case and the changes it had prompted, and many soldiers viewed her as someone who had helped advance opportunities for all service members. Her presence in the class was seen as a sign of positive progress rather than as a controversial experiment. Sarah completed the sniper training program with the same excellence she had demonstrated during her first attempt. Her final scores were once again the highest in the class, and she graduated with honors. The graduation ceremony included a special recognition of her perseverance and the role her case had played in improving military policies. Following graduation, Sarah was assigned to a special operations unit that had specifically requested her services. Her new commanding officer was familiar with her background and was eager to have someone with her skills and experience on his team. She finally had the opportunity to serve in the role she had trained for and to prove that gender was irrelevant when it came to military effectiveness. The broader impact of Sarah's case continued to unfold over the following years. The military implemented new policies that made discrimination in training programs much more difficult and established clear procedures for addressing complaints about unfair treatment. Several other women who had faced similar challenges were given opportunities to return to programs they had been unfairly removed from. Captain Hayes' investigation was eventually published as a comprehensive report that documented the systematic barriers women had faced in military training programs. This report became required reading for military leaders and helped ensure that the problems Sarah had experienced would be less likely to occur in the future. Sarah's story also inspired other women to pursue careers in specialized military roles. Her success demonstrated that with determination and support, it was possible to overcome discrimination and achieve professional goals. She frequently spoke at military academies and training programs, sharing her experiences and encouraging others to persist in the face of challenges. Years later, as a highly decorated sniper with multiple deployments and commendations, Sarah reflected on her journey with a mixture of pride and determination. While she had achieved her personal goals, she remained committed to ensuring that future generations of women would not face the same obstacles she had encountered. Her story had become proof that talent and dedication could ultimately triumph over prejudice and discrimination. The truth about her dismissal from sniper school had indeed come out, leading to meaningful changes that benefited countless other service members. Sarah's grandfather, who had lived to see her vindication and success, often reminded her that her perseverance had made a difference not just for herself, but for everyone who would follow in her footsteps. Her story became a testament to the power of persistence and the importance of standing up for justice, even when the odds seemed insurmountable.